What's up, guys? Today we're taking a look at this beast, this behemoth, the Reate T1000. Oh, flipper tab doesn't work. Well, I wonder why. That's because this knife has these big pins that go right up there in front of the flipper tab and locks it closed. And it's got this secondary little slide part right here. It slides forward and unlocks the pins. And now I can flip it. Look at that. Huge, massive, just broad blade, crazy looking grind. This is the version 2, so it's got the recurve blade, Tanto style. This thing is just ginormous. Look at the thickness on that boy. Massive chunk of titanium. Fits your hand really well. This thing is crazy. Really crazy. Gotta love these grinds. I love Reate's grinds. The way Reate does their grinds, their satin grinds especially, are just amazing. So pretty, so clean. The way they sharpen them is so clean. I love that tumbling. They do like this nice like stone wash tumbling on there. It's like a mirror tumble. It looks really nice and on the flats. And then this is of course that nice high satin grind, high polished satin grind. Really nice. It's M390 steel. See there? It's got the hole and the blade stops, which is actually, I mean, these are thumb studs, but it stops the blade as well. This thing has a lot of lockup points, a lot of points of contact. Flipping action is excellent because it's Reate. Not quite drop shut, but it's pretty darn smooth. I mean, it's almost completely drop shut. Maybe it's just the one I have. Yeah, it's pretty good. Very, I don't know, consistent. It feels very good. Huge, fills your hand really well. I mean, this is comfy, pretty darn comfy. You do feel like the weird, like, different edges and ridges and stuff. You do feel it, but none of it's sharp, you know. There's not really any sharp points. It's a little bit, maybe a little bit pointy here, but I mean, you can feel a little bit, but it really doesn't feel bad at all. This thing's just nuts. This particular one, here you can see, is 258 out of 300. So I guess there were 300 of these made. Really cool. Absolutely beautiful. The way they build these. I mean, it's not the particularly like beautiful looking knife, but just the quality here is beautiful. Really crazy design. I mean, you can see all these parts, all these bolts, all these like the screws. Really nuts. Looks like, I don't know, molecules or something. Kind of crazy. And then it's got the really long titanium popsicle clip. It's got the titanium frame lock, of course. Everything feels good. You got that, even the lock bar screw is like massive, you know. And a lock bar insert, end over travel stop. So pretty nice there. You see just how thick this blade is. Look at that blade thickness. This thing's huge. Let me compare it real quick, actually, while I have them on the topic. Look at it compared to a PMP Alpha Beast. This thing is the widest, thickest blade on any production knife right here on this Alpha Beast. And you can tell there, it's like maybe half as thick. It's huge. I might as well compare these while I'm at it. There you go. Here's a little size comparison. Pretty much about the same size, lengthwise. PMP Alpha Beast might be slightly longer. But this thing's just crazy. It's huge. It's hollow ground here, flat ground out at the tip. It's got this huge wedge that runs down. It's got different jimpings. I think this is funny. It's got like really wide jimping up here, and then thin jimping here, and then like this like medium jimping here, and then these really far apart jimpings here in the backspacer. It's just crazy the way they design this. And then it's got some jimping on the flipper tab, of course. And it's got lanyard hole, of course. A lock bar cutout. I mean, it's got a bunch of cutouts, pieces. It's crazy. This thing is just full of all kinds of interesting things to look at. And when you want to lock it up, push these pins in, and then it's solid. You try and disengage it. Of course, it won't because of the pins. So you gotta come back here and push this forward, and then it unlocks. You can close it. Flip feels really good. Nothing to complain. Maybe slightly sluggish. And I say that because the Reate Tiger that I have, which is also a large Reate knife, is not sluggish. This thing really slams out like quick, absolutely wham. But it's kind of like a similar style, at least to me. They seem like a similar vibe. Of course, this one's going to be way chunkier and thicker. It's like you take the Reate Tiger and then put it on steroids and hunch it over a little bit, you know. It's kind of what it reminds me of, but definitely a lot less thick. And actually, while I'm at it, I just compare these size here are the sizes of that one too. There you go. It's pretty much just as long. I guess the T1000 is a little bit longer, you know, by a little bit. But I love the Tiger, so this thing's really nice. They did a really good job. They knew what they were going for. They were going for a crazy, overbuilt, innovative, you know, I mean, who's doing this kind of bolting system, you know, with these pins? Nobody's really doing that on the market these days. So it's really cool. One thing I will complain about, this like disengagement mechanism back here, when you have them closed, it's kind of really hard to push forward. I wish there was less friction on this like sliding button part to push them apart. It seems like it's really hard to do when it shouldn't be. I think they could have made that a little bit easier to disengage, but that's okay. Flip is awesome. Disengagement of the lock bar is great. No problems there. You can use the thumb studs if you're really good like that, but I would not recommend it. They're more like blade stops, and yeah, it's got the hole for deployment. If you want to, you can reverse flick it. It's a little bit hard to do. And here you see that pin went in, so I can't disengage it. I come back here and push it out. The pins go in really easily, so if you bump them or knock them, they will go in without you wanting them to. So you got to keep an eye out on that, because even if you like holding it somewhere, you like push that pin in even slightly, it won't, you know, it'll stop it. So got to be careful. And weird thing is you can push one in at a time, which I think is pretty funny. So you could have one engaged and the other not. It's kind of interesting that they let that happen, that you can do that with this. And then you lock it closed. Of course, you can see those pins there come together. Pretty cool. Very interesting mechanism. You don't really see it very much. I mean, I think this is the only knife I've seen it on. Is that flipper tab. Flipper tab's a little bit sharp. Kind of points out at you. So you kind of got to come from the top. It's definitely a light switch flipper tab instead of a push button. It's got the Reate right there. It says Reate right there. You got this huge finger choil up here, so you can choke up. It feels really good like this. Honestly, the finger choil is huge, big enough, way big enough for a finger. Yeah, it feels good. Definitely a very interesting design. You can see right through the knife. It's pretty crazy. Made this huge overbuilt thing, and then you have this big pocket. You can see right through it. I mean, they had all kinds of milling and stuff. I think there's like the designer's logo there or something. I don't know. Pretty cool though. Let's do some size comparisons. Up against the PM2, which is here, and the Para 3, which is here. There you go. You see, huge, massive, way longer than either of those. And then we'll compare it to the Benchmade Bug Out and the QC Penguin. There you go. See, way bigger than that, than those. And then we'll also compare it to some larger knives, the MSI, Architect MSI, and the ZT-0308. So there you go. Nice comparison. Yeah, I would say it's about as long as the 308, maybe slightly shorter, but it's about as long as that and about as long as the MSI. So this is a good size comparison because it shows you just how long you're working with. It does have a much more presence height-wise from the bottom to the top of the handle. So you definitely feel it, and it's way thicker. That's another thing. You feel that handle is way wider than these are. So that's really what makes it feel like a beast, is because of just how wide it is. You see there, that's a MSI. So you can just tell how much blade you have. You can see the blade stock there. Compare the blade stock to a 308. Way thicker, just nuts, crazy. Absolutely insane. You see there, but it's a bug out. So this thing's crazy. One of those pins went in. Gotta push them out. So just a crazy thing. I wish the pins didn't go in as easily as they do. So because sometimes you knock them and they just fall into place. But it's a pretty cool knife. Definitely a lot of fun. Huge, overbuilt. Flips really well. Just premium quality on a massive design. So pretty awesome. That's about it for this one. I really like. This is kind of like the massive version of a Tiger. It's what it feels like. It feels like a Tiger on steroids is what it feels like. Tiger on steroids, that's maybe slightly more sluggish, but more overbuilt. That's about what it feels like. Really crazy though. So, yep, that's all for this one. Let me know what you guys think of the Reate Tiger. It's insane. It's crazy. It's huge. Yeah, let me know what your favorite Reate knife is. And I really like the Reate flippers. They do a great job with their detents. So that's it for this one. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and have a great day.